Hello and welcome to our Will It Float demonstration. We have 25 things and we'll explain each one before we drop it in. And we're going to go one at a time, and you should choose whether you think it's going to sink or float and put either an S or an F next to each number. And then we'll do the test and we'll see which is right. And then you'll count up how many you got right. So our number one item is a button. And so, will it sink or float? Sink. Okay. That's number one. Okay, we'll just put these over here. Our next item is an egg. This is not hard boiled, it's a raw egg. Put it in gently. Sink or float? You can see that it has sunk.
Show my hand.
Well, you're putting it over the...
So?
Okay, the next thing...
No.
The next thing that we... the next thing that we have is a Navel Orange from California. Do you think it's going to sink or float? It floats. Definitely floats. Okay, so that's number 3. Okay, next.
I think what's that giggle?
Yeah. Next we have a Hannaford. Pick something, please. Now we have a jar of honey, a full jar of honey. Sink or float? Definitely sink. Okay, that's number 4. Next we have a pomegranate. Whoa! There's our pomegranate, slightly bruised. Sink or float? This is number 5. The pomegranate floats. Okay. Next we have a polyhedral die. This is a 8-sided die. It weighs about the same as a regular 6-sided die from any sort of board game. Sink or float? And I think it's also made out of plastic. Sink or float? Sink. Okay, that's number 6. The next thing is a Hannaford thing of cranberry applesauce. Sink or float? Don't throw them and then just put them in. Sink. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's number 8. It is an actual apple. Sink or float? Stop. Okay. Sink or float? Very pretty. It floats. Number 8. Okay, next we have an almond, a single almond. Sink or float? Don't throw it in, just put it in. Sink. I think that's 9. Okay, so what's next? 10. This is a can of Seltzer, which we'll come back to. No, I guess we're going to do that now. Okay, that's a can of Seltzer. Sink or float? The can of Seltzer floats. Okay.
He's cold.
Yeah, and it's cold because it just came out of the refrigerator. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So number 11, a candle. Paper candle, half used. Okay. The candle floats. Number 12 is a twist tie, unused. Sink or float? Float. Okay. How many have we done? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 13. A bottle of Dawn. It's about 3/4 full, 2/3 full. Sink or float? The bottle of Dawn floats. Yeah, it's upside down. Yeah, see? So that floats. Okay. Next, we have a pen, regular Bic pen, blue plastic. Sink or float. This also floats. Add it to the list of blue things that float. Next we have a silly band shaped like a heart. It's essentially an elastic band. Sink or float. It floats, kind of.
There's an arm in it.
Oh, it sank. Okay, sank. How about that? Alright. Next we have a jar of water chestnuts. A can of water chestnuts. Okay. Sink or float. Sink! Next we have a beautiful pear-shaped gourd which came from Lawrence Farms in Newburgh. Pear-shaped gourd. Sink or float. And it floats, despite the fact that it's seems pretty heavy. Well, here we have two things, but we're going to separate them and do them one at a time.
Okay.
Pick one. Which are we doing first, the magnet or the paperclip? The paperclip? The magnet. Choose one, please. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. That's the paperclip. Sink or float? It sinks. Next we have the magnet. Sink or float. Sink. Okay, we're almost done here. Now we have a coin from like a Chuck E. Cheese type place. It is a lot lighter, I will say, than a coin like a quarter or even a nickel. Sink or float. Good flip. And it sinks. Okay. Almost done. We have a button. This is a regular kind of close button with a couple holes in it. Sink or float. Hold on a second. Technical difficulties. Slowly sinks. What? Okay. We also, and then now we have a tab to a soda can. Sink or float. Okay. Also sinks slowly. Okay. And just two left. We have a top. Little plastic top. Okay. Sink or float. Oh, it sank slowly. Okay. And finally, the piece de resistance, we have a package of extra firm tofu. Sink or float. Our last one.
Say it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold, just so you know. It sank. Okay, so there's our 25 items. Now add up all the ones that you got right, and you should have a score from 0 to 25.